I did talk with the Pinterest expert yesterday. She and I spent about an hour and a half on a Zoom call. She's also from Danielle Hamlet from the podcast. I was very impressed with her, and we're going to go for it. The reason being, and the reason I say this, being in the tech arena and doing the stuff I do with websites and, looking at ease of use and all that. I look on Pinterest and I'm not seeing anything about that, because who's going to use that term? They don't know what it's about, right? I have to teach that to them. So I started looking up computer and all that. And there's some nice cutesy lists there, but I do more than that. And I think this lady is going to be able to get me in that space. One thing I liked that I heard from her, and I did not realize this, Pinterest is not a place where you post 2 or 3 times a week necessarily. It is a database. It is a search engine. And I had forgotten that. I think you and I might have talked about that a while back. It is a search engine. So people are going to find you if you have the right keywords, which is, of course, something we talk about with people when it comes with their websites and making their websites bring those leads in. So I'm going to go for it. She is talking about boards and other stuff and things I don't even know what it is yet. But as you encouraged me here several months ago, since I have so much varied background, that I've gone some other directions. So she's going to do the same thing for me and put on there that I'm in several different areas. And I think it's going to be worth the time and the money to have her do that. And being a tech, I do want to tell everybody this. I could do that myself. I could do the Pinterest stuff.
Sure.
She would charge me less than half what she's going to charge me just to say, hey, here's my process, do it. I'm not going to do that. And the reason I suggest, even if you think you know how to do a website, and I could do a website, right? I don't do that either. The reason is because if you are not an expert in an area, and I'm certainly not an expert in websites or Pinterest, down the road, as you just mentioned, you grow and then you'll need this, and then you have to add this on. Well, I could just see her say 2 years down the road, Kathy, we need to do this now, but because you set your Pinterest up like this, now we're going to have to go back and redo, or
sure.
I don't even want to go there. For example, using you as my webmaster, if I want to do something, you either know off the top of your head or can go look up my account, go look everything up and say, because we did such and such, yeah, we can do that. And you built stuff in for me. And that is the main thing I want to get across is don't ever, no matter how techy you are or not, ever get into something that you don't know what it is, because there's always going to be something you don't even know what to ask.
I think that's good advice. And I always say, focus on your area of expertise and outsource the rest, right?
Right.
Because somebody else is an expert in that and they can do it better and faster than you. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at. And it also, anybody can learn anything nowadays, right? If you wanted to learn how to develop websites, you certainly can do that. If you want to learn how to leverage Pinterest for your business, you can learn how to do that. But the time it takes you to learn that could be better spent focused on your own business, right? Driving income for your own business or generating leads more directly for your own business. So yes, I totally agree. Focus on your area of
expertise. That we've talked about this.
Yeah, outsource the rest. That's good advice. So fantastic. Well, here's what I know about Pinterest from a search engine optimization standpoint. The content that's put on Pinterest lives a really long time. And because it's like so many of these big platforms, Facebook and other social media platforms, Pinterest, Etsy, there's a whole number of them out there. They have such prominence in the space that their content is going to be elevated in search much, much faster than an independent website is going to. So putting Kathy York and your services on Pinterest might even show up in a search ranking for your brand, Kathy York, higher than your own website, right? Because Pinterest has that kind of broad appeal and higher traffic and, just overall higher ratings in terms of search ranking. So, so yeah, I met a lady at a networking event years ago, and she told me about, I forget exactly what her business is, but it must have been something to do with cooking. She had written or put together a board and then some content on Pinterest about Dutch oven cooking. And you know what Dutch oven is, right? It's those big cast iron pots, and they often people cook on a campfire with these Dutch oven. And
I have one of those now. It's called a crock pot.
Yeah, it plugs into the
wall all day.
Better.
We have 4 of them. Sometimes all of them are going at the same time.
Well, I guess the Dutch ovens, there's kind of a whole subculture of people that that like to cook with those Dutch ovens. And so anyway, that was a post that she put out there. Maybe it was making pizza in a Dutch oven or something like that. And it was her highest traffic generator to her website. Years later, 5 years after the post was published, it was her highest traffic generator to her website, or referrer, right? The referrals came from that post on Pinterest. So yeah, they have extreme longevity out there in the internet space, and can really bring in targeted traffic, right? People that are looking for specific things.
And that's what I appreciate.
Good for you.
I did tell her one thing. I told her up front. I said, look, especially with doing this podcast now, or this Zoomcast that you and I are doing, I told her, okay, that is already leaching into my time on my week to get that done and get those blog posts done and, get it ready to go out. I said, one thing I cannot do, I cannot, but because I'm the non-overwhelm queen. I have that in my in my podcast or in my web stuff. I am not going to overwhelm myself just to put something out on a search engine that I'm not even sure is going to work for me. I told her I'm not going to be updating these things every week. If I have time, I'll go out and maybe put a link on there for a new Zoomcast, but I'm not going to babysit it. And she said, as you mentioned, that's one of the good things about it. She said she can set somebody up and you never have to touch it again. If you want to do something with it, you can, but it lives forever. Once it's on there. And people,
that's my experience.
Yeah, people you're trying to reach, like with the Dutch oven, there's always going to be somebody, because now I got to go look that up.
I don't remember the lady's name. Kathy. I think her name was Kathy too, actually.
But it's always going to be there. And people are people. There are people who are going to be interested in your topic, or those who are not. And, the next gen's coming up, right? So
yeah. And again, I don't remember exactly what it was her business was. I don't know if she was selling Dutch ovens or if she was selling a pizza mix that was made in the Dutch. I don't even remember that part of the discussion. It was just a brief discussion.
Funny.
But what I did remember was the longevity of that link on Pinterest, and that interested me a lot. So